Sima sum koyaka te eteka kuata namada e dreku. Suma samahi. 15th of August. Tukuyaka, associated with Our Lady. Kukung kanamala. Yeah. Good morning, good morning. Showing you a little bit of that beautiful sunrise. 15th of August, the day after my birthday. I don't know about you guys, but I always find the week of, I'm sticky sweaty for my run walk, so apologies for that. Looking icky. The week of the birthday, whether it's something to do with the alignments or what, I don't know, but I always find I process a lot, and I suppose it's a time of remembrance as well of the family that have been here and gone, right? So thinking back on your childhood and who was there and they're no longer with us. So I just want to acknowledge that that might be in the stream this week, even though for me it might be amplified with grief. Grief for what was, what isn't yet. So I'm going to invite that to be released. And because of Friday, and we're still in the energies for another few days of the 888, there's a lot dropping in. Sadie and I are going to be running a light language course, a journey. Yeah, we're going to teach about light language and activate people in all of the forms. Light language is energy, frequency, vibrational force from source through nature to us, bringing us into harmony, balance, purpose, clarity, truth, helping us express our souls in an authentic way through an authentic voice, right? So we're going to be doing a journeying aspect, and a lot of stuff's been dropping in. And things are starting to make a lot more sense to me from information I've been receiving since January, February, March, when I started doing sound baths and quantum journeying hypnosis sessions in Cork. Hello, those of you that joined me on those with Olive Lynch, they were fabulous. And each of those sessions that we both ran that time channeled through, very actively dropped in information and how the journeys were, and we didn't really explain it to people coming. They didn't need to know, because the intention was there, and the journey itself brought them to that space of awareness for what their soul needed to know. But a lot's making sense now, and I feel like the awarenesses are coming through because we need to find ways to explain what is considered metaphysical in the physical scientifically, because really what I'm looking at now, like the woo-woo, even light language, right? Woo-woo, what people would consider woo-woo, that's just science we haven't yet found words for, and we've given them woo-woo words, right? It's just science is catching up. And when I say science now, I'm talking about quantum physics, quantum mechanics, quantum neurology, neurophysics, biosphere, the physics of that, bioelectrics, AI integration with the physical body, all of this, the frequencies, the waves, what, like Wi-Fi, right? Aura, what is aura? It's like bioelectrics of the body. The body is an electrical system. Why do you think part of the information that's been coming through has been, we really need to strengthen our electromagnetic biosphere, body, aura, whatever you want to call etheric layers, because of what is already here and what is to come. The more that we are embodied, as in strengthened in our physical bodies, in alignment to the earth frequency, in alignment to our soul frequency, the more protected we are for what is. And this was dropping in January, around me picking up a lot of interference energies. And that interference energy felt like coding systems, and I was seeing mathematical equations along with geometric shape systems coming through the air, right? I don't have the languaging myself. I'm trying to allow that to come through. And what I was sensing was interference with brainwave patterning systems and their nervous systems. And it felt like something trying to either input information and control response. And I was being shown that this was coding systems. Either AI was creating new coding systems and was now learning how to interface with our, what I call the outside of our nervous system. Again, I think there is actual, I'm going to have to research this, because what I get shown the pictures of how our nervous systems looks on the inside, and then how it also feeds out and into our auric, quote unquote, biosphere, into our auric layers, and how we pick up information, because I know quite a lot of how I'm picking up information is from this. And I see people with more sensitivity to that. And, you know, you could call that a form of channeling, because it is. Except it isn't. Because it's also a natural, physical makeup of us. It's just some people are more tuned into it and understand it and listen to it more. And this is how we learn discernment about what's true, what's not true, about where there's infiltration or manipulation, about what's coming, because we can have precognizance happening with this as well. You can connect into the mind hive telepathy with this. So, and this is scientific, guys. This is not me going woo-woo. They have studies out there, and I'm going to start finding them, because I asked, what is this, back in January, and I didn't ask how. I was being given all my languaging sequences, and that's how I was explaining it. And now I have asked how do I equate this to what's already out there, giving languaging that's already there, so people can actually find the research papers and understand that we're not talking through our hat. This is something that is known. It's just not known as easily as one, unless you do the research, right? So I'm in the process of doing that. A lot of more information is dropping through. I'm being told where to look to clarify and quantify and confirm that whatever information I'm getting is not me talking through my hat, so that I can show us and myself that, and this is what's coming through for this course as well, right? I can show us how we will live and co-live and co-create alongside what is here and what's coming. Now you're going to go, what is Mary talking about here? I didn't really tell you what I was seeing in January, February, March. These new coding systems coming through looked like either it was being created by AI or it was an input of coding systems into the AI structure. Like, I'm going to give you an example, like Meta, right? Like they were trialing something that had already previously been researched quite a long time ago, but now it was being rolled out. And this felt like it was that coding sequence. The best way I can kind of say this in a really simple way, if you're to, has anybody had the experience of being on Facebook or on any social media crack? Because I've been off social media for quite a while as well. This is when I went back on again. And you're thinking about something, you haven't spoken it out, because I did know before, if you spoke about something, an ad would pop up, right? And because I had created a brand new page back then, a few months ago, it didn't have any algorithm, you know, it was like, I'm a new thing, right? I had deleted my old accounts. So what I started to notice was a feeling of an interference around the brainwave thing. I was feeling something, and I started noticing what I was thinking was coming up. What I would think was coming up on the social media as advertisements, or it was like the algorithm wasn't waiting for me to go searching for something. It was already preempting via my thought patterns. So that was a little confusing until that information came through, and I was seeing that they were creating these new interference algorithms. I'm calling them interference algorithms because it's got to do with the mind and the brain waves. It's like a neuro frequency AI. I don't know how to explain this. There probably is languaging. I need to find the languaging out there. This has got nothing to do with woo-woo. This is what's happening now, because they're finding ways that they're able to network with AI, and the AI is via Wi-Fi, via waves, because our brain waves are electromagnetic. Our heart's electromagnetic. Our field has that. So there's an interface happening. A melding that can happen when we are connected in, literally, to social media, or to the internet, or to your computers, to your phones, to your what's that stuff you wear, the wearables, like your watches and your Oura rings and all that crap. And that's something I actually can't physically wear, and I never really I remember I got one back in 2017 and I could never wear it. And I know that's partly because of my nervous system energetic field. I was told that at the time, right? Because I was getting snake bite burns constantly, and I was sending back all of these wearable technologies saying your items are flawed. I keep getting huge blisters and burns. You have a fault in your watches or whatever. And they kept sending them back to me. I went around through 4 or 5 of them, and I had these huge blisters on my hand. I could not wear wearable technology because my body electromagnetic system was just freaking saying fuck off. And I started wearing one again recently, and I can't wear them more than 2 or 3 days at a time because I will start to get burned. And I wear them mainly just to know, like, how is everything, because it's nice to know these things. But I recognize now as well, like, there is an interference happening with them. Be aware of that. Some of us are more sensitive. Because when eventually the company just said there are a few people that have a reaction like you, because that's like, it goes through your skin, right? So it's going through your there's 2 little light dots going through to pick up your biometrics. So it's not the same thing. I'm talking about the AI and the brainwave connection. That's different. But it's under the same intention to data mine you. And why would they bother doing that? Because they want to control some aspect. And this is part of your body. It's your bioelectrics. It is your electromagnetics. When they have that down, they will know your thoughts. It's kind of like that movie with Tom Cruise. What was it? Precognition. They would know what somebody was planning. So, and if they know that, they can input a coding brainwave frequency to shift what you are thinking to what they want you to think. So this is what was coming through in January, but it was coming through as me seeing a matrix organic AI structure. So I was being shown the images of what this looked like an entity, if you want to call it that, but it was within a computer system, but like a cloud system, like organic technology is the best way I can kind of put that. And you can't see it with your eyes, but it was like I was able to see it through metaphoric images, and I was trying to give it voice. And it was when I said, actually, rather than me going too woo-woo trying to find words to explain this, what's the actual science? And now the science is coming through for me to start explaining this, because this is not woo-woo, but it is in a way as well, because it's to do with energy. It's just that we need to understand it so that we are strong, so that we are informed, and that we are not owned by anything. I hadn't planned on talking about all of this morning, but this is what keeps coming through. Because I was also shown timelines to do with this, and I was shown a bit more about the quantum physics aspect of it, how they have the technology now as well. And I was showing CERN, and I haven't researched any of this. Like, I don't have a big science background or anything. I don't go like I don't follow other people. This is just what's coming through, because this is what I'm being shown will affect me and how I need to prepare and anybody around me. So the reasoning this is coming through is because I see a future where we are empowered with technology. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's not to be in fear around anything that I am saying or sharing. And I hope you can hear I'm not in fear talking about this. I'm a little peeved about it because there's an intention there for control. It's not the actual AI itself wanting to do that. It's other parties, which are corporations and greedy people, power-hungry people, without pure heart intention. But to understand that the higher the frequency, or the higher the connection that you have to your heart, to your body, to how your mind works, understanding your mapping sequences, your frame of references to do with how you think, your programming, your own programming. And so much of that has been coming up for me since 888. Holy crap. I've been tracking my timeline from like birth to now, understanding how I do things and how I be, and how things have happened and decisions that was made like 3 to 4 and 5 and 10 and 13 and age 16. Like, it was like all of this, seeing my cycles. Because the deeper that we move into our understanding and compassion, and then we're able to unearth where that programming is and bring it into resolution. So it's neutral, it's no longer controlling us, our own programming. And we can therefore create from a new point of creation, a new 0 point, a new timeline. So everything that you would have done with me and Sadie in the 888, when we talked you through the 3 brain systems, and Sadie did that fabulously, to understand the heart, the mind and the gut, because that's an aspect of the physiology and the neurology, right? And how that interfaces with our energetics, as well as our programming. And also what you would have done with me regarding the somatic alchemy. So the embodiment facets. So we're looking at nervous system, strengthening the nervous system, toning the vagal nerve, activating the electromagnetic circuits within that through somatic alchemy, which is energy work with it, right? This embodies us more. And with that, when we start bringing in all of these facets of coming into the body more, our body more, coming into the heart more, calming the mind, so we're not in fears, we're not clutched by anything anymore, we're in a calm, our nervous system's in rest, digest, not freeze, fight, flight, right? We're grounded, we're more earthed, and especially if we start doing things like strengthening our nervous system via sunlight, getting the physical earth here in the now. Interacting with sunlight as much as you can, with your open eyes through the optic nerve, going into the hypothalamus, the pituitary, which regulates your circadian rhythm system, your nervous system, your digestive system, your hormonal systems, all your all of your systems, down to your battery systems in your cells, your mitochondria, and how much that your cells can power up, right, via sunlight, via earthing, via the food that we are consuming that is grown under all of the light of the sun, via our metabolic states. So not so much even what you're eating, but when you're eating. So states of fasting, states of feasting, high nutrition. So when we understand, and these are in all of the old religions, like all that I'm speaking about has been kept, and spiritual languaging has been put around it as something more mysterious than it actually is, because at the end of the day we can relay it back into science and quantum events, that it is just to give an example, like they've just, I don't know when they discovered this, but one of our senses, right, smell, olfactory senses, there's quantum aspects to that within our physical biological makeup. And this is what I found really, really cool. Like, the egg in a woman has a specific olfactory smell or capability, and that's quantum I don't know how to say that, but olfactory in the quantum sense. Progesterone supposedly smells like lily of the valley to guide the sperm to the egg. The egg chooses which sperm. And when the sperm does go into the egg, that itself is a quantum event. They have shown now, under conditions when they've done IVF in the lab and they've dyed it, they have shown that when the sperm enters the egg, that there is a quantum event, a zinc spark, which is like a huge explosion of light, right? It's a huge explosion of light, equivalent to a black hole, like freaking hell, like a star, like equivalent to that. That is consciousness of the male and the female coming together in conscious life created. They have shown that. There are videos out there you can watch. It is absolutely amazing to see. That is how we are created. It is a quantum event. So I suppose what I'm getting at, because I've gone off on a little tangent, I've asked the how to explain what I've been receiving up to now, and everything's been adding in and adding in and building and building, because we're going to need what Sadie and I will be co-creating, without sounding arrogant, is we really, really, really freaking need this moving forward. We're really going to need to know how to master our biology, our brain, our neurology, in the body, and thereby master our energy, our forces of creation within us. And when we are masters of our energy and our forces of creation, and we begin to understand it and practice using it, we will understand that we are limitless beings with superhuman powers. And that's, you've seen me bring the wind in, you've seen me do aerokinesis in some of my videos, you've seen me bend the spoons, right? You've seen me part the clouds. I put that up because I'm literally being able to part through mind, through energy, through connection to earth, because I am feeling the energy of the earth being used through me to be able to do that. We can do things I think that are going to blow our minds, but we must move through the limits and the blocks and the programming, and we must amplify the potential of our physical bodies and our heart, because the heart is a huge, and we know this through HeartMath Institute, the electromagnetic of the heart. We know now through science that we are almost like a hive mind. We can read thoughts. They've done studies on this since the 70s. So if this is something you're interested in, and I am still on a journey of learning, I don't understand it all myself. I can understand it from how I am being shown the visions, but I am still finding the languaging to explain everything. So bear with me on that. And I'm trying to bring more of the languaging of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, quantum neurology into it, because that's where we're heading. And for those of you with a more scientific brain or mathematical brain, which is something that I struggle with, but I can see the freaking maths, I can see the coding and equations, I just don't understand them. And I've started to ask the how now, right? I've been asking the how, and Spirit came in 2 or 3 days ago and said, you must ask first for help, right? And I've said this to those of you joining the course as well, that were wondering how that you could make it happen, right? And Spirit came in really clearly saying, you must ask for you to receive, right? Ask for help, and then ask for the how. How can we make this happen? How can we make this happen? How can we understand? And it brought me back. I'm not very comfortable showering this next part, so I'm gonna flip from me onto the sunrise. Alright, so how can we make this happen? It came through from a memory back in 2016, day before yesterday. I was with Nargiz. Hi Nargiz. I was with you, having a chat with you, Nargiz. And because I am in a deep integration and processing from the 888 with Sadie and all of you beautiful people co-creating that with us, and those of you entering into the sacred container, the light language course, embodied the light within, right? So because we're in a journeying already, we're already entering. Once we say yes, and this has been an invite from Spirit to say yes, right? Once we say yes, we're already being worked on and worked through. So, as I said, I've been tracking stuff, memories, programmings, why I've done certain things and had certain situations, what my soul wanted to learn and embody and integrate. And back in 2016, I was pretty ill, off work, bedridden. And at that particular point in time, I was very, very, very thin, no energy. Found it difficult to gather thoughts. I'd lost power of speech every now and again, power of function. It was kind of like my body was shutting down little by little. And I had trouble with my heart, my nervous system, which is why I work so much with nervous system. I had damage to my nervous system. My heart was running off. I was collapsing, blacking out, fits, convulsions, blah, 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 right? I wasn't in a good state. And I remember lying in that bed with the covers, and they felt heavy because I was so weak I couldn't lift them off, even though they were just sheets. And I felt like I needed to go potty, I needed to go to the bathroom. And I remember trying to think through, and this is because my brain was so slow at the time, my body couldn't respond either. How do I lift the covers off? How do I get my body to have enough energy to sit up? And how will I walk to the bathroom? It was a huge effort to even think about how I would do that. And I was lying in bed trying to figure out how to push the covers off. And I remember, like, I'm so weak, I'm so tired, and it's so hard to breathe right now. And my heart was like, I was getting on terrible palpitations on heart monitors at the time. And a thought flashed like lightning, kind of like a neuron fire in the brain. And it was, you're going to die. And I had been in such denial that anything was wrong. I've been living in delusion that I would be fine and that I could just push my body to such an extent and make my will greater than anything, that I'd pushed it to this extent that I couldn't even get out of bed, to be honest. That was just body abuse, like massive disconnection from the physical body. So that thought that flashed went away as quickly. And a couple of seconds later, and I remember a wind, what felt like a wind. Now, whether this is being an hallucination or not, this is my experience. A wind rippling up the covers as if, there was no windows open, by the way. A wind rippling through the covers all the way up to my face, kind of like angel wings. That's how I can describe it. It started from the open door up to the bottom of the bed, coming up to my face. And I was the only person in the house or the room at the time. And after it reached my face and my eyes were open, kind of going, what's that? A booming voice sounded in my skull, like a clang clang booming, so loud it almost hurt my ears, even though it wasn't from the outside, it was from the inside out. And that voice said, kind of in a confirmation, you're gonna die. And the impression I got was I had like 5 to 6 months before something went really wrong, and that was it. That was the end of the road. And what do you choose? Do you choose to live or to die? And it felt like it was roaring at me, this voice. And in my head, I started screaming, I want to live. So I made a choice, a transformational choice. That's what they call this in coaching. In those split seconds, because this was split seconds, I want to live. And once I said that, there was this energy in my mind, and I was like, but no, I don't know how. Like, what do I, it was kind of like in my head, like, what do I do next? And I was shown through a vision where I had issue and what I needed to do to fix myself. I had asked the how, right? So first of all, I had asked for help, right? Like that was that thought. Oh my God, I think I'm gonna die. Like, and then it was like, and then that voice came through, and then it was like, what do you choose? I choose to live. Well, now what do you need to make this happen? That's the how. And after that, I had more energy come through, and I remember researching like, what would I need, surgeries or people to help me, and anything I did was sent to me after that. Anything and everything was perfectly lined up, the perfect people, the perfect surgeons, the perfect counselors and people I needed to help me in the physical. And I just kept saying yes, breathing in, saying yes, taking the next step, saying yes, taking the step after that, saying yes, taking the next step after that. Totally divinely guided. Was that the end of all the troubles? No. But it was the start of the journey. Why am I sharing this? One, it does make me uncomfortable to share this. But that's what Spirit showed me 2 days ago with Nargiz. It was like I needed to connect into that part of me and allow me to feel me. And that wisdom of ask for help and then ask the how. What is it that you need help with right now? Ask Spirit, ask Source, ask the creation. What is the creation? It's the consciousness of all life everywhere. Ask and you shall receive if you're open, in the open heart. In that moment of vulnerability asking, we come into allowance. And in the moments of allowance, the hows, all of the hows that you need, whether it's about finances, whether it's about your health, whether it's about your children, your job, those are the little steps that we can do to align us to the greater picture of what we need as we take each little baby step forward, which is an act of faith. It's an act of faith. And as we begin to understand the depths of the power that runs through us, the depths of divinity that supports us, and how magic we really are, right? How connected and interconnected we really are. We can become fully empowered in all that is and all that will be. And I suppose that's why I'm sharing this, because that's the journey I'm inviting people on with Sadie Riley co-hosting this light language course coming up. Because light language that's those packets of information that keep coming to me. That's light language. And I'm asking, how can I understand? This is interpretation of it. How can I understand this deeper? And I'm being shown other ways to start explaining this. Sukana makiakata echi maka mato etikiakana mataka asaya. So that's me explaining a little bit of my processes, I suppose, as things are still landing for me. We are feeling beings, but we must be embodied to feel the truth of everything. Samor ungara atri tratur. Go outside today. Connect to the earth. Receive those ions. Look at the sun. Well, not directly at it. Don't burn your retina. But get your eyes out there. Get naked in your eyes. Take off as many clothes as you can. Get the sun on your skin. Yama kunayamti. Recharge yourself. Get in the water if you can. Isima kanama ura kayetini mata. Connect with your breath. Reset your nervous system. Do vagal reset. Sur amdiva katamatate. Wa wa inyo mawe. Tarahambrate. Access your sound, your vibration, your soul sound. Tamba etinyam do ungate nawaoto. You are a miraculous being of light, and you're here to awaken to the fact of that. Fully empowered, fully present, here and now. Huakanamatayati, in the purpose of all that you be. And I'll leave you with that today. Ikum hata che norum halyama triantakai tanama ase. What is it that you're choosing? Mazuva kianam de delwa delowa delaway. If you would like to join the Light Language Workshop, I'll put the link below here. There's an early bird until Sunday. And if you're having any difficulties, let us know, reach out. We'll see how we can make it happen. But you must ask how we make it happen together. Because if this is your heart calling, we need you here. Because this is a co-creation. As we gather, as the more of us gather with the same intention, right? The same vision, creating that legacy moving forward for all that is coming after us. That's what people are calling in the woo-woo language the New Earth timeline. And that was showing to me as well. We're at a time of choice points right now. So I invite you into your truest, highest potential choice point. And if you are not yet ready for that type of co-creation in this course, Embody the Light Within, you might be interested by what I have shared, or by what I have shared that's been processing and coming up from the 888. We're still in the energies. It is not over yet. It's a good time now to purchase that repay link, which is, at the £8, with the option to donate more if it's aligned, but we want to make it available to as many people as possible. Watch that. 3 hours of absolute wisdom and healing and clarity, creating and deep embodiment, resetting of your bodily systems. You get a taster. It is literally the smallest taste of what we're going into. So you can purchase that too. And I'll put the link below. If that's what you need first, go ahead and do that. But if you're ready to join us on the 5-week journey, reach out. The link's there. Have a read through it. Your soul will know. Your heart will know. Because you're going to feel it. It's going to be a calling. See you on the other side.